So in creating a positive culture, this does not mean it's just presidents. This doesn't mean it's just the owner, founder. If there's anybody that you work alongside or underneath you in any way, no matter if it's one person, okay, you are in charge of creating a positive culture in that circle of influence that you have, whether it's a big circle or a small circle, okay? In my home even, in my family, people would always tell me, you know, you're the thermometer. You're the thermometer of your household. I'm like, I'm not the thermometer. Well, the temperature of the house, like, no. I'm the thermostat. I set the temperature. Everything else, the temperature gets maintained through that. So if I'm a good dad, by the way, how many fathers are in here? Happy Father's Day. A day late, but happy Father's Day. And moms, any moms in here? Forget us, because your job's even harder than ours is. So forget Father's Day. Mother's Day is every day. But in your small, medium, or big area of influence, you are to create a positive culture. That takes that honest company and personal assessment, and that actually should be flip-flop, because hypocrisy will show. It's hard to be one person here and jump in and be another person here. I once walked in, a buddy of mine was speaking at a church one time, and he was speaking on, it was a ministry talk, but he was just speaking on leadership. And I walked in, and how many of you like to be early? Like if you go to a movie, yes, there are still movie theaters out there, folks. Can you believe it? There's a place you can actually go that's not home. And if you go to a movie theater, how many of you like to be early? Even though you can get your seats. I don't care if I'm like at the end of the movie before me, or if it's the credits. I want to be in my seat. I don't want to be late. This day I was late. And he's a pretty gifted speaker. He commands a big audience, and so 500 people are supposed to be in a 350-place auditorium. Sorry if there are fire marshals in here, and maybe it didn't happen. So I walk in and I see, oh man, everybody's here. He's just getting ready to get on stage. I hate being late. I look and survey the land. There's one seat open, one. And it's next to a grandmother who's holding a baby, the baby is only in a diaper. And by the time I got there, I realized that diaper should have been changed 4 hours ago. And it's next to, or she's sitting in front of her daughter, and mom and daughter are barking at each other and all, and there's only one seat. So I go and sit down, I'm like, I'm late. I got stinky baby going on here, but okay, I get it. I sit down, I look up, and here's what the guy said. My buddy Rob, he said, if you go out into the world and create this character and live this character out, but you fail to do it at home, shame on you. Because your character, your ministry, your culture begins in your driveway, not out in the world. Because if we do it this way, it's backwards. If you want a joyful, you don't have to love your job, but if you want a joyful environment, you want to live joyfully when you go to work, you want to live joyfully at home, you want to live joyfully when you're by yourself, when you're on the road going on a sales meeting and you're a sales call and you've got 8,000 miles of corn and floodwater. The character starts in your car. It starts in your home. It starts in that personal assessment, okay? It's always character driven. And I remember I got caught up when I got there. I'm like, okay, is this really what the major leagues is like? Okay. And I remember that first month I started to become a different person. And my wife called me out on it. She's like, I'm not sure I like who you are. Why don't you just go back to the minor leagues and go play in the NFL? I'm like, the NFL, do you see this? No, this is not playing in the NFL. But the idea was that I was trying to be more popular than be a person with integrity. I would rather have influence of 100 people than the love of 10,000 that doesn't hang. Leaders have to communicate a clear vision. If you have that sphere of influence and people around you don't know what they're supposed to do, that's going to create anxiety, and you have to be able to do that. This is what Enron had at the beginning. They created opportunities. They were collaborative. It was individual. It was team. It was always about that. Accountability of self and staff. Now, I don't want you to raise your hand for this, but I want to ask you this question. Accountability is not easy. Again, don't alligator it. I just want to ask the question. How many of you are uncomfortable with accountability? Don't raise. Leave it to yourself. Look inside your own mind. Look inside your own heart. And if somebody came up in a respectful, loving way, in a good environment, would that bother you? And if it would, if constructive criticism is hard for you, I'm not judging. I'm just letting you know that it's going to be really hard to be a creator or a sustainer of a good culture in your sphere of influence. It's going to be nearly impossible. We have to be able to take constructive criticism and put people around us that will give us loving accountability. If someone comes up to you and gets in your face and say, dude, you got a brutal haircut, man. No, that's right. If someone comes up to you and starts getting in your face and you don't respect them or they're not just taking the time, that's not the people that you want to follow. So be the leader that other people want to follow. And one of those big things is accountability. And where necessary, be patient. You got to be patient with people around you. All right? I know that even as a dad, we're playing a game yesterday, and my son is his last year playing. And he's not going to be, he doesn't want to play after his senior year. He's going to be a senior. He wants to be a doctor, probably because he's tired of hearing me complain of all the surgeries that I've had, and he wants to fix it all, which is great, which now I'm going to have to work for another 80 years to pay for med school. But he's up to bat playing baseball, and he's, I'm coaching third, he's up. Strike two. All right, here we go. He spreads out like he's supposed to, shortens up, gets ready. Strike three. And I'm standing in third, I'm like, oh my gosh, swing, just swing. And the coach came out of me, and I didn't like yell or scream at him, and I could care less what his batting average is. And what I wanted for him was, dude, I don't care if you're making out, but get in the game, play, just give it a shot, see what happens. And after the game was over, my wife and I were talking about it, and I'm not the yell dad. We didn't talk about baseball. I'm probably going to watch a video of his Call of Duty. Check out what I did. It was a 1 versus 5, and I beat them all. I'm like, okay, whatever, great, I'll watch it. But then my wife kind of whispers, what was that thing that you said to him after he struck out? I said, I just told him to swing the bat. She said, tell me about your approach there. Do you think that when he walked off the field, he knew that he should have swung the bat? Well, I hope so. There you are, coach. There you go, coach. You only coach for 2 hours every game, but you never stop being a dad. Like, well taken. And I'm glad tomorrow's Father's Day, or else you might not talk to me for the next 3 days. Here's the point to all that, though. If you're a leader, you never stop being a leader. You might be in for 2 hours, or an 8-hour day, in a 40-hour week, however many times it may be. But if you have a sphere of influence, you never stop being a leader. Can you next slide, please?